more scholarly or intellectually oriented material, and the Mitty Moore page tends to be a little bit more snarky and has the memes. For those of you who don't know, Mitty Moore, if you read Dr. Nelson's dissertation, as I have, she was a member of the Blackdom 13, or if not a member of the Blackdom 13, she actually owned a stake in the town of Blackdom, but operated a.
She was not a member of the Blackdom 13. She was a largest landowner. She was a madam gunslinger bootlegger, and she did have
right,
largest, yes.
But she definitely...
She was not part of the 13, though.
Okay, so she was not part of the 13, but she actually owned land in, and like a lot of other people, lived and made her living in Roswell. I don't know, is it fair to call her business a house of ill repute?
Yes.
Okay, well, there you go. I mean,
body business. Yep.
The body business. So, B-A-W-D-Y, not the B-O-D-I, or B-O-D-Y. Anyway.
Exactly.
Not to belabor that point any further, but no, but I think that the character of her page goes right along with who she was. And
right.
And I can tell you, without a doubt, the use of social media to get the message out has been, at least it's been successful as far as reaching me. Because I think that's how, we talked a little bit before, I think when I interviewed Dr. Nelson, about how I met him and how I ended up kind of coming back in contact with him, a couple of years later, which ends up being about, not quite a year ago. But like I said before, that we have a friend who uses a hashtag that references Blackdom. It kind of piqued my interest. And, if it wasn't for your heavy social media presence, I may not have had ended up with two guests out of it. So I think we've all benefited in one way or another, and I definitely enjoy looking all of the different content that's created. Now, do you know how many pages there are?
Off the top of my head, no.
I think
I would have to sit here, write them down, and count them.
If I'm guessing,
I would say our top pages are Dr. Nelson, the historian, Blackdom Clothing, Blackdom Townsite. We haven't really been active in the Mitty Moore Carmelita Torres page lately. I think Timothy still goes into those spaces. I've not had time to. I would say those are our top pages on Facebook, and really that's where we get most of the people that go to our website and to our events. Instagram is more of a place for Timothy to express, and to express what he's doing in the physical realm that helps him further develop Blackdom.
Right. Now there's the Frontier Alchemy. That's another page, right?
No, Frontier Alchemy is not another page, but that is definitely a hashtag.
Okay. It doesn't see, and the point is, it's working, because I don't know whether it's a hashtag or a page off the top of my head, but I just know that it exists. So you guys are obviously doing something right. Marissa, I want to go back to your activism and advocacy, and why the future New Mexico culture is such an important connection to its past and your past. Let's talk about the issue of what's included in local school curricula, which I know has become a big thing now. I know you've expressed concern over what you've seen, or maybe not seen, in your son's textbooks when he was growing up. Have you followed the recent debate over the Las Cruces public school policy and the many, on the whatever side of the spectrum that claim, this whatever's going on with the idea of possible of inclusion versus the idea of critical race theory and all that big debate and brouhaha that's gone on down here?
Okay, so that's a big question. I'm not really sure what is going on in Las Cruces. What I do know is there are some great things going on in New Mexico with some of the leaders at New Mexico State and UNM. Dr. Dulcinea Lara, I mentioned her earlier.
Yes.
And Dr. Irene Vasquez at UNM. They are doing some really, really great work, and they've helped Senator Linda Lopez get some bills passed at legislature this year to bring ethnic studies into the K through 12 curricula. What you're speaking to, I have no idea, but I know there's some great work. And it's been really rewarding for me in this seat that I sit in working with Dr. Nelson to see emails come in inviting him to be an expert witness for this year's legislature to speak about the importance of making sure we bring ethnic studies into K through 12. So when that happens, I know what we're doing is having an impact.
Right. Well, I think the what's gone on recently in Las Cruces with the introduction of this new policy is something that I've seen. I think Florida just passed a law actually with regard to this. There was a school district in suburban Dallas in the Metroplex somewhere. It's going on all over the country. And, you know, a lot of critics of the policy is basically what you're talking about, including local heritage and local cultures, which a lot of times end up not being Anglo-European majority. And for some reason, I think a lot of people have a problem with that. And you mentioned Dr. I don't want to butcher her name, Dr. Is it Dulcinea Lara, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she actually spoke at several school board meetings here and was very much a proponent of this new policy that did pass here in Las Cruces. That does concentrate on making it a point to include studies that are relevant to here and culture that's relevant to native New Mexicans and people like you and your family who have been here for 14 generations, in addition to what's already into the curriculum. And I have a hard time understanding what exactly people would have against that. But, you know, I just had the thought this morning there was a Las Cruces Sun News article that I looked at online. I didn't get a chance to read, but it's actually about Blackdom, New Mexico. Do you follow the Sun News?
This came out yesterday, correct?
Maybe yesterday. I saw it on my phone scrolling this morning.
Yeah, and that was written by, I think, Jennifer Olguin.
Okay, I scrolled through it to see who it was. It wasn't Dr. Nelson, but I didn't happen to remember who the name was. So you are aware of it.
Yeah, she works in the archives there at New Mexico State. Oh, yes, I have Google alerts.
Okay. with keywords Blackdom?
So I am on top of it. When something's written or something goes down about Blackdom or the Afro frontier or African American towns or black settlements or I've got different things. I've got alerts, so I knew about it, and I actually we emailed her yesterday to thank her for the article.
Well, it's of course we love and respect the work that Dr. Nelson's doing, but it's also nice to see that other people have taken it up and are working to get the word out and spread the word. Can I ask you, Marissa, what do you see in the future for your business ventures, whether it be the Blackdom Townsite company, Blackdom Clothing? All of these different things. What's in the future for you guys?
Well, right now, I can't speak too much about the institutions, but we do have some things that we're negotiating at the moment. As soon as we've got those relationships figured out and the contracts wrapped up, I can speak more about them. But what I can say is right now Dr. Nelson's writing a book. Another book? No, this will be his first book.
Okay, when I say another book, I'm talking, so I read his dissertation. I not a book, obviously, but, and how is it going to depart from, obviously it's going to be on the issue of Blackdom, right? Or not?
Yes.
Okay. And maybe you don't want to share too much, and I respect that. Marissa, can you tell us all the different ways? I know we did this before when I interviewed Dr. Nelson. Tell us about all the different ways people who are listening today can find out more about Blackdom, can find out more about your clothing line, the films, the social media pages. Go ahead and plug away.
All right. So when you say films, I want to make sure that we're on the same page about that. Timothy does produce short video clips regarding his work, or maybe what he's doing in the garden. Maybe he'll do some snippets from events and add some text. I mean, there's lots of various things that he does with social media that's not film, but it's definitely short videos. So I want to make sure I'm answering your question about film, because I know there's a lot of misunderstandings about that due to maybe a script that we were working on.
And maybe film was.
You're referring to?
No, maybe film wasn't the right word. I know there are videos on the website.
Yes. And we have a website. You can go to AfroFrontier.com, And that will take you to his articles, to our past events. You can see presentations if you want to see him actually do a presentation. There's articles, there's newspaper clippings, there's bios for both of us. We've got the Blackdom clothing shop there. We encourage you to support the furthering of this work. We're doing this out of our own pocket right now. So any support that we can get. We are currently a for-profit business. We will be transitioning to a nonprofit, but that's probably going to be within Blackdom Townsite, not within Blackdom Clothing. Blackdom Clothing and Productions is literally about that. It's about the work that we're doing right now. So getting paid for presentations, you're getting paid for a T-shirt or cup here. We're not making a lot of money. We have, in the last 2 years, have been so focused on refining the message and the work of Dr. Nelson's dissertation so we can put it out in small bits and to get him, basically, what I've heard other historians say is that they have to go through a process of composting the work.
Composting the work.
That's what I would say I've been witnessing Dr. Nelson do.
I like that, composting the work. Well, as you know, Marissa, I read Dr. Nelson's dissertation before interviewing him, and as somebody who studied history and got a bachelor's degree in history, I definitely enjoyed the geeking out part of it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And of course, don't forget, as far as ways that you can experience Blackdom or learn more about Blackdom, Season 2, Episode 2 of the Square Peg Podcast features none other than Dr. Timothy Nelson. You can find that in the archives on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on LasCrucestoday.com. Marissa Roybal, thank you very much for being my guest. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I learned a lot today. I hope our listeners did too.
Hey, thank you, Warren.
We will see you folks next time on the next episode of the Square Peg Podcast. Take it easy, guys.
Proudly produced by LasCrucestoday.com and Bravo Mike Communications.